What up, y'all? Welcome back to another session of the Overreaction Show with none other than your host, Blake Anthony. Well, Divisional Round is up. Conference Championship is coming up next. But you got the Broncos, Patriots, Rams, and the Seahawks coming up into the final four. And then there was four teams remaining in the NFL playoffs coming up. Whether your team advanced or didn't advance, these games were electrifying, especially the last one with the Bears and the Rams. Caleb Williams, another crazy-ass throw with time expiring at the end of the game. Crazy. I just don't understand how the defenders are just standing there covering air while receivers behind him. I don't think they really thought he could get it there with his arm. You found out the hard way, right? But they still were able to pull the game off. The Rams pulled it off 20-17, got the win over Chicago. Very, very good season for the Bears. And then again, very disappointing, but I'm sure they'll take that over not making the playoffs and being in disarray for many years that the Bears have been dealing with that, and they finally starting to get stability. You got a quality head coach, at least that's what we think so far. We'll see how it continues to be that way. If not, and you got the Rams. That's who I picked to win it all. You got the Pats that look solid, and you got the Broncos who just lost their quarterback to a foot fracture, bone fracture, or something in his foot. The second to last play of the game, crazy, right? But the crazy thing that people are talking about the catch is the one that Devontae Adams had, and the guy ripped it out that they called it the catch. Then the other one, I guess you call it a simultaneous possession in the Josh Allen Bills game versus the Broncos. Controversial. I mean, I get it. Why it's that. One, he didn't have clear-cut possession on when he got taken. Why I say that? Because we watched the Bucs get that happen to them against the Lions in a game where Cade Otton, we thought it would be with his possession, which he didn't call, but it wasn't possession, and got it ripped out while his knees were on the ground, and they called it interception. So I've already seen that happen earlier this year, so I'm not surprised by that call. The other one, Adams clearly had possession inside his body. Had it wrapped around and then had it ripped out afterwards. But you have to survive the ground during a catch. We all know that. We watched the Calvin Johnson rule, Des Bryant rule. Gotta survive the ground, and he didn't survive the ground and led to interception. This is what it is. I know everybody's gonna have mixed feelings about it, depending on what team you're rooting for. But like I said, I've already watched it with a team I cover all the time, and it was the same call. So that's just what it is. After that, when three coaches fired after the playoffs, you got Tomlin that was fired, you got McDermott that was just fired, and then you've got Harbaugh that was fired in the playoffs. So you have three coaches that were fired during the playoffs. Where do you go next? The coaching pool isn't really that hot unless you're just going to swap all the coaches. You're going to fire these guys and then they just go to another team. I don't know. I don't know what these guys, half these teams do anymore, the rhyme or reasoning behind it or whatever it is. A lot of times, like I said, if you want to fire somebody, I don't think you got to look at it what it is. Is it a coaching problem that you're firing? Because if it's the player constantly making mistakes, or like your franchise quarterback constantly making interceptions or costly turnovers in a game, why is the coach getting fired? It's clearly not an out-coaching situation. It's a player not performing situation or making bonehead mistakes. Can't change that. There's not a call you can call that. For example, Josh Allen, at the end of the half, you're holding the ball out dangerously and it gets stripped out, and Denver is able to get 3 points out of that at the end of the half with like 5 seconds left in the game. That's on him. Interceptions thrown, costly turnovers, that's on him. I mean, you give them all the praise when they score, but none of the blame. It goes like that. Well, I mean, I'm sure it goes like that with every team across the league, but that's just facts. It's not emotional decision. It's simply facts. That's what happens. Then you got Tomlin. They talking about it was overdue. I mean, whatever. You got no answer. I haven't even heard them interview anybody yet. Don't know what that situation is looking like unless they're waiting on somebody. Harbaugh's already made his decision to go to New York. And you know, it's funny. Like, especially down here in Tampa, like I say, I cover down here in Tampa. you look at people that go to other teams and they can't coach in certain situations. And what I mean is McDermott never went through a point where you didn't have a franchise quarterback. Well, maybe the first year with Shady McCoy and all those guys, but he never went the whole career head coaching career without a franchise quarterback. That's just a step ahead in a lot of other coaches that don't have anything. Like you're going to a Raiders situation, yeah, you get your chance to draft your quarterback, but a lot of people aren't awarded that. You're stuck with what the GM picked already. You got to run with the guys that they already have on the team, and you got to kind of build from that. A lot of guys can't do it. Liam Cohen, we'll see how he does. You went to a situation that we already had a franchise quarterback. They had players on the team. Jaguars was in they weren't looking like the Raiders, which is a totality of a team misfunction in that, or the Jets, like those situations. And you got coaches that'll win with anything. Dave Canales went into a disarray Panthers team, and now they're starting to look better because before he got there, they were looking to get rid of Bryce Young, but he's able to come in there and make the best out of him and find ways to make that team work. Tomlin, post-Ben, they've been trying to find a quarterback, still finding ways to win it. So everybody complains about, we're going to go 9 wins, 10 wins, or 11 wins, or whatever, or first round. Well, you're doing it without a franchise quarterback. You're winning without a franchise quarterback. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You got a coach that's find ways to win without a franchise quarterback. So, again, I've said it several times. I fell in love with Baker Mayfield in the way he is. But right now he's a bridge quarterback unless the Bucs go out and prove that he's the franchise guy by just securing him long term. Okay, once you do that, then he's your franchise guy. But right now he's on the last year of the 3-year extension. And we'll see where it goes. Do they draft a quarterback? I don't know, but Todd Bowles has found ways to win up until this season where the team kind of fell apart at the end of the year or past the bye week, I think whatever it was, but finding ways to win. So there's guys that can coach under duress situations. There's guys that can't. I told y'all Harbaugh wasn't going to go nowhere without. He wasn't going to go to no Raiders. He wasn't going to go to nowhere else. He was going to go somewhere where he could succeed. And why you can do that? Because you already have an established quarterback, established things. There's just guys who can't coach anywhere else unless the table is already set. But you guys give shit to a lot of guys who's not handed stuff like that and still find ways to win. So you'll get to see if McDermott goes to another team that don't have a quarterback already and stuff like that, and you get to see what kind of coach he actually is. Or whoever it is, some of these coaches that don't get the privilege of going somewhere who's already have established quarterback. Because I've said it before, and I'll keep on saying it. The success to winning are two things: consistent head coaches and consistent quarterbacks. When you change in and out every 2 to 3 years, it doesn't work. It's not my emotional feeling. It's not nothing. It's a fact. It's a fact. Winning franchises do those things. So, yeah, the playoffs have been everything but disappointing. You've had a little bit of everything in all these playoff games. You've had drama in the NFL all across the board, a lot in Tampa with keeping Bowles. A lot of people are upset with that. We had to watch a lot of the bonehead decisions the Glazers made prior to Todd Bowles, and there's people that roll with it. Why this one's different, I have no idea. But so we'll see with these coaching changes. One's already fixed. Harbaugh's going to the Giants. So now we got to wait on the rest. You got Mike McDaniels getting head coaching. I think him going to Baltimore, a college-style offense for Lamar is what he needs. A college-style offense for Jalen Hurts, I think, is what they need. I think that's what they need for those two offenses. But if you can get a head coaching job, by all means, take the head coaching job. Nobody wants to go back to a coordinator position unless you're promised the head coaching job after the head coach is going to retire or something like that. That's the only reason. Or maybe, I don't know, Chiefs, not Chiefs ain't looking for OC. Well, Andy Reid calls his own plays anyway, but that's just where it's at right now with the coaching and the playoffs. And overreaction, man, it's overreaction. I guess it's really exciting that this playoffs have turned out to be this exciting, man. It's been everything but disappointed. The Bears are on to something. The Rams are one of the most healthiest teams. The Pats, another one, Vrabel. You come into a winning situation, already had a quarterback situated and got some picks, some right picks you got in there. All you had to do was walk right into a position and take it. With a quarterback already set, it's much easier to coach when you got those things. Bruce Arians walking in off of, you went to Jameis Winston, you had a losing season, then you got Tom Brady and won a Super Bowl. It's crazy once you get that quarterback piece and you got the head coach piece, you can win Super Bowls and things like that. It's the recipe for success. Again, it's not an emotional answer, it's a fact. But teams like that, Jaguars, Carolina, the Bucs, you guys got to keep the consistency going like that. Unless things just fall apart, and I've seen it happen, they just fall apart, then yeah, it's time to move on. Well, yeah, it's falling apart in Tampa. It happened with the Rams. But they won 4 games, and then they drafted Verse and Fisk in the same draft, and defense loaded up. See, the thing is, if you fire Bowles to go load up the defense, why didn't you just do it the first time when you got Bowles? So that's probably where they're thinking. First off, you signed to a 3-year extension, him and Light. So you're not going to put one coach that you literally just signed months ago to a 3-year extension to go hire another guy and then to go draft a defense that you should have drafted years prior. Load up the defense. You're watching all these playoff teams win games rushing 4. The Houston Texans, good God almighty, wouldn't that be nice to coach that defense where the defensive ends could get to the quarterback just sending 4 and then you're leaving 7 in coverage? It makes it a lot easier. The secondary is a lot less stress. There's a lot less holes in the middle of the field. That's why you can get to the quarterback with 4 and then actually get pressure where the quarterback's got to check down quick because they think they're going to get strip sacked. You don't have that problem with certain teams. But with some of these playoff teams, they can all get to the quarterback rushing 4 guys. Broke that down with James. I can say it to the cows come home. Maybe somebody else has got to look different than me to say it, maybe for it to click. I don't know. But like I said before, the stuff I say is factual. So any player will come on here and agree with me tenfold. Any coach will come on here and agree with me tenfold. For some reason, we just want to choose to stay ignorant out in this area. Or other areas too. You just choose to stay. It's a choice at this point. Because it ain't emotional answers, it's factual answers. That's what I got. It's over. If I got an overreaction, I'm overreacting on how good the playoffs have been. And I'm not disappointed at all. What do you think? Coaching firings, hirings, decision, anything I said? Please send me stuff. Just trust me. I get overexcited and I troll and do things like that, but it's all out of fun. And like I said, if you got a difference of opinion on me, I was just arguing on. Well, I ain't gonna call it arguing, just debating with my buddy Brian on the internet about coaching changes and things like that. I ain't mad at you. I have a passion of doing what I do, man. I love talking sports. I love debating and try to see things from another perspective and have other people see things from the other perspectives. And the media will move you in a way that they want you to move. Remember, those guys doing media are paid by a company. Remember that. The guys doing media, I own my own business. I'm myself. Nobody's telling me to say anything. The guys in media are paid by a business. Therefore, you have to say and do what they tell you to say and do, or you're fired. If that doesn't make common sense, I don't know what does. I'm Blake Anthony, you're the master of everything. What you do with your life, what you do with it is entirely up to you. See you guys next time. Peace. If I can hit the right button on here.